So, welcome to our spiritual journey. We want to open your mind, body, and soul to how spirituality can shape, heal, and transition you to move ahead in this unknown world. We're discussing what spirituality is. I have some amazing souls on our panel today who live and breathe spirituality. I have with me Ms. Annemie, one of my good friends. She's an accountability coach who helps people glide through the challenges in modern day life. Can I introduce Annemie? Hi, how are you?
Hi, very good. Thanks, Jamiee. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. It's great to have you here, and thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Another good friend of mine is Ms. Sybille, a dedicated edge worker and movement lover, passionate about power of group work, a leader in transformational movement medicine using her own courage and vulnerability. She weaves her skills into open floor movement, workshops, and retreat. Hey, Sybille, how are you?
Hey, Jamiee. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
And it's great to have you here. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we also have Mr. Shailesh, an integral part of the show. Shailesh is all about spreading positivity, seeking positivity and positiveness, his main ingredient and mantra that he believes in. His background is finance, charities, media, and community-focused events. How are you, Shailesh?
Oh, thank you so much, Jamiee. And it's good to see and good to be here with lovely souls, Annemie and Sybille, and Jamiee yourself. So I'm excited to start this show, and it's great to be here with all of you.
Fantastic. And my name is Jamiee Taylor, and I'm hosting the show for you today. So let's get started. What we want to do is jump straight into the crux of what the show is about. So what I do want to ask each and every one of you, and we'll start with you, Shailesh. What does spirituality mean to you?
Oh, that's a good, as I said, like I'm a seeker, and I'm a seeker of all positiveness, and spirituality has always been one of my awakening, you can call it. Long time back it goes. So people live their life in a different ways, in different walk of life. They have their journeys, and this spiritual journey for me is nothing else but being myself, being my existence, acknowledging my existence and acceptance of what I am, who I am, and what life brings to me, the challenges that comes to me on a day-to-day life. So spirituality to me is nothing but overcoming every single challenge that I come across and moving forward and finding my own directions in terms of that. And so seeking for the best, seeking for the positiveness has always been. So yeah, to me, spirituality is very simple, like what we do and what we want to do and how we want to do and why we want to do. These are the questions that I ask on a day-to-day regular basis to myself, and that's what I live. So for me, spirituality is nothing but being yourself and acknowledging my innermost self kind of esteem that I am here for.
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's simple and get straight to the point. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll actually direct the question to you now, Annemie. What does spirituality mean to you?
Well, actually, spirituality, in the word spirituality, we hear the word spirit. So for me, it's actually the discovery of the soul and discovery of the self, as well as Shailesh said as well. So we are here on earth together with other people, and it is also, we need to be aware of what is going on in our life, within ourselves, in the relationship that we have with other people. So spirituality really is the discovery of who you are, why you are here, what your mission is, because we see many people losing themselves in their daily life because they're in 9-to-5 jobs and they kind of forget their identity. So of course, an identity is not just one label. It is many different labels. So it's basically, and it's actually not even a label, but I can go on forever. So spirituality is basically the awareness of who you are, where you are, why you are here, and then the relationship and the interaction that you have with other people around you.
Fantastic. And I loved the fact that you were talking about awareness and those pertinent questions to help people to understand what that actually means to them. So thank you, I appreciate that. And Sybille, the same question to yourself. What does spirituality mean to you?
For me, and within my own journey, it's the ongoing exploration on the similar lines of who am I, what is my purpose in the world? And if I follow my purpose, then if I am awake enough, then I can support others to find doors there. So for me, it's being in service with each time of connecting with my own being and being then an inspiration. And for me, spirituality is also very much connected with stepping out of what's on offer and stepping out of modern culture and stepping out of, which is not an easy path, but it's looking wider and taking risks and stopping to be with the flowers and stopping to be on a piece of land that is connected to nature, and noticing what's happening around me. So for me, the practice of spirituality has a lot to do with the practice of noticing and how connected am I with myself right now, with my four bodies, with my purpose just for this day, and then recognizing whenever I'm not, and then doing what I need to do to get back to to myself, to my being, to my own personal connection, to then be able to connect with others from that place and not from a rushing kind of busy mind, and authenticity.
Fantastic. And with each one of you have really explained 3 different points, and I loved the different aspects of awareness, identity, and being able to utilize yourself and your spirit to then pass on to others and bring others in. So it's amazing how we all perceive spirituality, because it means something very different to each and every one of us. Thank you. So the next question I'd like to ask is, how does spirituality enrich you in your everyday life? And I'd love to start with you, Annemie.
Well, I was very fortunate to grow up in a family where spirituality was normal. So for me, it's been part of my life for most of my life. But the practice is what I do and how it enriches my life, I would say, is I wake up every day at 5 a.m. and I have a gratitude practice. So I do that together with my husband, and we say what we are grateful for. And also every day, almost every day, we go and see the sunset. So again, as exactly what Sybille said, to connect to nature is very, very important, to be able to clear away all the busyness from the day-to-day life, as I was referring to before. When people are in a 9-to-5 job or 8-to-6 job most of the time with the commute, sometimes you're just running past yourself and completely losing track of why you are here and what you are supposed to do here as a human being and a spiritual being.
Fantastic. Great answer. Absolutely love it. And that gratitude practice is something that I also do myself with my children. It really makes an impact, and it makes a difference to you in starting up your day. So fantastic. Thank you. Shailesh, can I now pass that question on to yourself? How does spirituality enrich you in your everyday life?
Yes, absolutely what Annemie said. But enriching yourself is one of the key ingredients of, again, acceptance of what comes our way. So every day-to-day life, we get so many things and so many things we have to do. And we have to ensure that what is really affecting us and what is really affecting through us to others. And that's one of the things, that how you keep enriching yourself, that this is not something that it's only for me or only for around me, or it's actually the whole process of for everyone. But personally, if you enrich yourself by just accepting who you are, why you are here, and what you want to do, then I think on my day-to-day simple things that comes my way, I have to keep learning, but also I have to keep, as Sybille mentioned in her first introduction, what is spirituality means to her, is noticing. One of the key ingredients is noticing. So notice yourself, notice things around you, notice little things that comes your way. And that's probably, to me, is you enrich yourself by noticing. And so you know what you want to do, you know what you have to do, and you know why we have to do this. So to me, every single that comes my way, I enrich myself by that whole simple ingredient that comes my way. Nothing major, nothing complicated, nothing have to analyze, too much analyzing of any things, but keep doing things that you really want to do, that you are meant to do, or that you have to do, and why you have to do. So yeah, so I do enrich myself with all sorts of things that comes my way, rather than picking and choosing what others like or what different people like and then only doing those things. No, this is what, to me, I make a difference within myself, with others, is just keep doing things that I want to do with what comes my way. Simple thing comes my way, I'll do it, basically.
Fantastic.
Mm.
It's noticing those little things that are happening in and around you that the universe is literally throwing
It's
in your
literally
path.
throwing at us, yeah.
Literally, and then just taking notice and actually acting on it. So I very much am an advocate for noticing and being a part of those little signs that I may miss along the way. So
Absolutely.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And Sybille, the question to you also is, how does spirituality enrich you in your everyday life?
For me, it's in all sorts of small things that I do throughout the day. So one of my main practices to connect with my own spirituality is to connect to my feelings. So like either through writing or with my partner, having a simple full feelings check-in. Just what do I feel sad about? What do I feel angry about? What do I feel scared about? What do I feel grateful about? And making that's part of my day-to-day practice. Movement is a big practice of mine. Like when I noticed I'm disconnected, it's finding some music and moving to it. And just also one of the real helpful connecting places to my spirituality is to slow things down, like quite literally just slowing things down so that I pause and in conversation, making eye contact, creating connection with others, this like bringing my own self fully into the space with another person, that kind of connection really makes a big difference. And another practice of mine is the centering practice of you really connecting with my physical body, and also really practicing where is my attention, like what am I thinking of, and then bringing that attention back into my physical body to create presence, so I can be connected to my source and to my guidance for the day.
Fantastic. And actually, I'm just going to ask you another question on that, because everything that you've spoken about, I absolutely can relate to, and I'm trying to be a little bit more avid in my movement and my motion, and directly linking that through my feelings. So, what would you suggest if you were in a very flustered state of emotion? What kind of movement could you suggest that could help to alleviate, to reduce, that emotion in that moment?
It just depends what the emotion is. So if it's a really high anger, then I would propose to go somewhere to the beach or somewhere and have a scream. Just let that anger, let those feelings move, And the same with fear, just shaking the body and just let it rush through the body instead of trying to contract it and contain it. And if it's sadness, then allowing a good cry, either with another person or by oneself. And if it's joy, then yeah. So it's listening to what is really happening, and yeah, pausing, centering, breathing, all of those kind of simple tools that most that we all know, and still a lot of people are not doing. I have to remind myself still on this ongoing, and I notice the difference. Also cleaning my energetic space, like who am I thinking of, who's just right there, and what's looping. There's many different tools there.
Definitely. And actually, Annemie, for you, the same question: when you're in a state of a particular emotion, what do you physically, what sort of actions do you put in place or follow through with to help yourself?
It's a really good question, Jamiee. But over the years, I really have noticed that I've become much better at managing my emotions. And that was also one of my desires, like about 10 years ago. And I work on that a lot with my clients too. So what I do, I use breathing techniques a lot. And also putting things in perspective, because an emotion comes from the Latin word emovere, which means to move. And it's like waves. So once we are aware that this is a wave that is washing over us, and that we kind of have a choice on how to, I'm not going to say react, but how we respond, because that's a way more positive word, to whatever is happening to us. We know that is a temporary thing, just like everything else in life, it's temporary. So once you put that into perspective, and then you have a technique, a very beautiful breathing technique, which is a square breathing. And I teach that basically to any client of mine. It's 4 seconds breathing in, 4 seconds holding at the top, 4 seconds breathing out, and then 4 seconds holding without breathing, and then start again, and do that for 4 minutes, and you are a completely different person. And obviously exactly what Sybille said, if it's deep sadness, you need to let it out. And what I also say, and what I usually practice myself as well, is you need to give yourself the time. So you need to set a time frame and say, okay, I allow myself to be sad for, I don't know, a day. Depends on, of course, why you are sad, or an hour or half an hour. And then really by giving yourself that time frame, you have set, not a limit, but you've set a time frame for yourself to work through that emotion. And when you really do that on a day-to-day basis, things really change, because you recognize patterns of behavior and things that you take over, sometimes from other people and other energetics around you. And oh, I'm not going to buy into this because it's really not worth my energy. Because as Shailesh says, me too, I love focusing on the positive instead of finding that one negative thing. Why not focus on all the beauty and all the positivity that's all around us, right?
Absolutely. And I totally agree. I'm going to take each and every point and practice it with my kids, get on my nerves. So I'll let you know how that goes. Thank you. But I must admit, amazing responses. And even Shailesh, for yourself, the same question. What do you do when you have a particular emotion come over and overwhelm you?
Yeah, see, one of the key things for me in my day-to-day life, and I have noticed, as Sybille said, that I've noticed emotions are and very strong, and they can control you. And emotions are not supposed to be weakening you. Emotions are supposed to be strengthening you. And in my view, if you really, what I practice and what Sybille said, yes, if you are angry or if you are unhappy or unpleasant, you can go for a walk or for a beach or anything that distract you and do something else, which is calms you down and tries to reflect on your things. But to me, I do practice that kind of thing, but rather than that, I first and foremost try to prevent or avoid emotions controlling my body, my mind, my soul. I don't allow emotions to control because I know they are a constant change. As Annemie said, it's a temporary. And so I have noticed and I've recognized that emotions are constantly changing. So why would you allow them to control just because one of the emotions is so stronger than the other? So emotions should be not weakening to us. It should be stronger for us. It should create a stronger emotion for us, and then we can move on. But for me, emotions are very, very important because we are humans are made of humans, our emotions. There is no humans without emotions. So connections between humans and emotions is very strong, very binding. And that's how you communicate when you are emotion. So the communication could be in the form of fear or in the form of anger or in the form of doubts or anything, but that's a communication that you throw out through those emotions. So to me, for me, if I am overwhelmed or there is too many things emotionally saying to me that this is what you have to do, this is what you got to do, then I just take a step back and I say, no, you're telling me to this, but I'm telling you to back off and I will do what I want, basically. So to me,
Take
emotions,
hold.
yeah. So I think, yeah, I take a lot of good points from here as well, from
Yeah.
Annemie and Sybille, that how they perceive emotions. But yeah, kids change their emotions and we change according to their emotions. So Jamiee, for you, I would say one thing is like, I've been through that process. I know experience myself. It's not something I've read in a book or something, but I have learned from my own experiences. So
Yes.
whatever, when you deal with your kids or when you deal with your friends and colleagues and anyone, we do give more value to emotions, and our communications through those emotions are judged and are recognized by others. So we got to be stronger in our emotions by telling them how we want the emotions to be, not how they want us to behave, basically.
Correct. Yeah, absolute point of agreement there. I totally agree. And every point that each of you have made has even enriched and helped me in terms of right now a realization and what I can do actually with my own children in my own life. So some really
Yep.
great points. Fantastic. Thank you.
I would love to just add a really small distinction just to support what we just talked about.
Yeah.
So I make a distinction between emotions and feelings. So I see feelings are for handling life and emotions are for healing. So emotions are parts that uncompleted conversations, uncompleted processes, or uncompleted something that ends up in the body somewhere, and it knocks on the door like, come on, just listen.
Yeah.
And once it had a chance to be listened and heard and completed and felt, then there's more space for the adult and for the being to come forward. And feelings are just there for checking, okay, what do I feel angry about? There's a boundary I need to set. What do I feel scared about? Wow, there's the next step I need to take, or there's something happening that I need to pay attention to. Or sadness is a really clear guide for creating connection with myself or others. So this is one of the distinctions that I find really helpful.
Actually, that's a really good point. I must admit, I've never really thought of it in that capacity, but now that you've actually clearly explained the difference between the two, I would say, me personally, the way I deal with my children, and we're talking about our kids, which is a little bit more difficult, and even adult conversations, it's going to definitely help to keep yourself in check, and I suppose not over exacerbate and exaggerate, I suppose, different situations when it's just that realization. So I think it was a fantastic point, Sybille. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that was great, Sybille. Yeah. So
Just waiting. Okay.
What
actually,
next?
and now in talking about that, a great segue into our next question. And actually, I'm going to direct this one straight to you, Sybille. If spirituality was taught at school, how would that change the world, in your opinion?
Oh, that's such a big question.
Yes.
Great question.
I think it would change
Amazing.
everything. Yeah, so if children would be learning about feelings and about how to center themselves, how to be authentic, how to negotiate with another student instead of fighting, if there wouldn't be the right wrong, if there wouldn't be punishment, but instead of questions being asked, for me, that all goes into the same pot. If spirituality, if a teacher wants to find out what really matters to a student, like what really gets them going, what are they curious about, it is a total different way, and students would feel seen and heard. They would want to come to school. They would want to meet their tribe, the other students that are also on a similar place where they are. So they would naturally meet and magnetically find their way with each other. So yeah, like if mindfulness for connecting with spirituality would be part of their day-to-day practice, when they come in, they center and pause and have a moment of connection, have play, all of that. Yeah. And basically, yeah, like spirituality for me is very much what really matters to each person. So for a young person, right from their earlier years, to find out what really matters to them and to follow that path would mean that children would come out of school already on their path and not having to search and do some kind of dumb job that they then hate. So they would be on their way straight away. And so for me, there wouldn't be wars, there wouldn't be political struggles in the way they are, there wouldn't be what's happening on the earth. It's like everything would change, because the young people is the next generation that is walking the earth, and they will make decisions for the next step. So if they are connected with themselves, then we will be going we would be going somewhere totally different.
Yeah, totally agree. Amazing answer. And having children myself, I definitely have a viewpoint along with yourself, Sybille. I'll direct the question to yourself, Annemie. So again, same thing. If spirituality was taught at school, how would that change the world in your opinion?
Well, I think we would see peace on earth, really. Exactly. There would be way less war, and I think people would really learn. I think a very important point to learn is emotional intelligence. And exactly what Sybille said, people are learning just standard stuff as what we all did in school. And has that brought us closer or further away from our goal? Because sometimes I feel when people, what is currently taught at school, it's not really teaching you about who you are and what you want. And it doesn't teach you how to connect with people. So I do believe that communication and mindful communication, including emotional intelligence, is something that should be taught in every school from 2 years old, and that people can really, basically coming back to our spiritual journey, what we are talking about, is people would learn from a very young age that we are all one. There is no division. We are all connected. We are all energetically connected, and there would be no fighting. Exactly. It's not a problem. There are no problems. There is only opportunities, and I think kids would be able to see that and then filter that into their life later on, and choose more wisely and way more consciously what they want to do in life and how they want to be of service to the world, instead of being plunked into a job and then they don't like it. They need to kind of go through a midlife crisis to recognize who they are and what they really want to do, to then start again. And some people they're not even that lucky to get that second chance, because they believe they're too old or something, which is completely ridiculous. So why not start at the source when kids go to kindy? And why not teach them meditation and how to deal with their own emotions and how to connect and really connect with others, to kind of come to the conclusion from a young age that we are all one and we all go through hard times. And what we need to do, instead of sabotage each other, is support each other.
Exactly. And it's really interesting you mentioned about connecting because we're all one. It's a real shame, and we could this topic could diversify into so many different areas, and unfortunately we don't have a couple of days to go through it all. But you're right, it's that connection of people, and starting it from a young age. And it's interesting, a lot of kindies, immerse themselves and their teachers with the children to help them to communicate their emotions, but yet as soon as they hit school, it starts to deviate away and it changes. And then when you hit high school, it's non-existent because you're expected to be able to know how to deal with your emotions, yet you're still a child. So yeah, again, some great points from you both. And Shailesh, I'll ask you again, I'll direct the same
Oh,
question
yes.
to yourself. So
this is really a close question. It's a very, very, as Sybille mentioned, it's a very big question and a very vast question. And as Annemie pointed, it's when she answered that, in her view, the connection is not just about people, humans, but all around you, the nature, the surroundings, and everything, how we recognize we all are one. She mentioned that. So we all are one is not just humans, but everything in that whole perspective of universe. But to me, this question is very, very close. And I have been trying to preach with my positiveness, trying to state many times and highlight this and raise many times this to many stakeholders, officials that I work around with, is this needs to happen. And you rightly said meditation, yoga is all coming back to schools when they are little kids, and kids' little minds needs to be free up, not like in a classroom saying that this, do that, and that's it. They don't know any other things, even though they know they can't explore. So to me, it's a very important question that you mentioned, that how will it impact and make a difference to the kids and to the world that we are living in and to the universe that we are all thriving on a day-to-day basis. So, so teaching spirituality in the kids, spirituality is nothing but, as Annemie said, connections of all, and we are all one, to understand the concept. But more importantly to me, spirituality means giving the opportunities when the young kids are very young, and having opportunity to give them and explore and give them platforms to explore free spiritedly, not with the standard rules that this is what it is and that is what it is not. So we need to explore them so that they can learn on their own quite a lot and absorb. And yes, there should be guidelines and everything on that safety and security point of view for kids' point of view, only from safety and security point of view. But rather than as kids when they're born, what they need and what they seek at that time is only safety and security. And that's what they look at the mother or father or uncle or whatever siblings. They look safety and security. And this is very important. To safety and security, the mother doesn't say do this or do that. They allow them to do, but then they go back to the mother for safety and security if they have done wrong or anything. So to me, putting in the schools, right from when they are in the kindy, as she said, and in the schools, giving them the free platforms and free spirited awareness to act and to react, so that they learn on their own quite a lot and absorb quite a lot, so that they understand the meaning of what impacts it makes to others, to their colleagues, to their siblings, when with their actions. And this is where the spirituality is equivalent to, like, what they call it, the kindness. And kids, when they understand the kindness subject or the kindness, what does kindness means, in a different layers are there for kindness, but ultimately it impacts everyone. And that's where the free spiritedness comes. And as they say that we all are spirits, we all are souls. When the kids are little, they are also little souls, but that's where they are seeking to grow. And when they're seeking to grow, we need to give them the platform of free spirited, of freeness. And that's more important to me than anything else. So free spirited platforms to explore them, to give them opportunities. As Annemie also mentioned, I think it is all about opportunities. So kids want opportunities, and kids want to explore those opportunities. So they are fearless. They even go some extent to put their fingers in the fire just to understand what it is. And when they understood, then they back off and then they learn their way around. So it's very, to me, yeah, it's very, very important to start when they are at the school, to give them this awareness of we all are one. That means irrespective of what colors we come from, irrespective of what diversities we are from, our humans have got a similar mind, similar thought process, just a different directions, but ultimately the goal and the visions are same. So why create hatred, or why create, just concentrate on one word, kindness, which involves everything and which evolves everything, basically. So it's very important to put it in the school, just like the old values are coming back, meditation, yoga, all of that. Yoga is nothing but connection, and meditation is nothing but knowing yourself and like growing yourself, basically. So, but yeah, these are very important topic and very important question, and it's a very vast question, as Sybille mentioned, so can't be answered in a day. But one thing is sure, that definitely needs to change the way the kids are at the school today. We need some changing environment to absorb the world that we are living in has gone too far and too diverse in two different ways. We want to bring back to as one. That's all I
Correct.
can say.
Uh,
Yeah.
Fabulous conversation, which we could continue on for the rest of the day, I'm sure. But yeah, I loved that, seeking little souls. It just really hits me right here, which I'm sure it does each and every one of you. But you know, there's such a great point in everything that each one of you have stated, and it also starts with the parents actually allowing that opportunity to unfold and not putting hindrances and barriers in front. And I must admit, I do that quite often because it's a fear that I have that my children are going to hurt themselves, although they need to learn. So, you know, an absolute point that you made, Shailesh. So fantastic.
Yep.
We're going to do one more question because we're hitting 37 minutes. So we'll aim for 40. The last question I'm going to ask is, what is your spiritual message you want to pass on to our audience? So I'll ask that shortly, in a couple of minutes, seconds. I've absolutely enjoyed our time with each and every one of you. And I've been able to really grasp and take and absorb a lot of key points that I never actually considered myself. And being a parent, you know, especially when we were talking about spirituality being taught in schools, which is an absolute important aspect. What I really want us to do now, before we sign off, because each and every one of us would love to be here all day talking to you. The last question, and I'm going to direct this one straight to you, Shailesh, first, is what is your spiritual message you want to pass on to everyone today?
Yeah, that's very good, very tough, very bold. And I think the message that I would like to pass on is first and foremost let's everyone become self-realized. I got my awakening many years ago, and I can see that why everyone is unique, and I can see why everyone cannot come together or agree to disagree and disagree to agree. But one simple message to me in terms of spirituality, I can say that become self-realized rather than depending on others and rather than seeking answers from others. First, seek the answers from yourself, that what you are, who you are. And so self-realization is very, very important. So my message to everyone who are listeners basically is to self-realize yourself. Once you become self-realized, I feel that you have got everything that you wanted. And then it is only about how you want to take the direction to the growth level of the way you want to grow and how you want to grow. And also how you can grow others along with you. So my message is very simple. Become self-realized so you can grow yourself, and then that can grow all others, basically. That's my simple message.
Oh, wonderful. Simple, straight to the point, makes absolute sense. Thank you, Shailesh.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you, Sybille, the same question. What is your spiritual message you'd like to pass on to everyone?
My message would be bold. Be bold and have those courageous conversations that sometimes you might be avoiding. I need to have these courageous conversations all the time. Have these courageous conversations with the people that you love so that the space can be more clear and connection is possible. So that, yeah, be bold, take a stand for what really matters to you, speak up and take up some space so to become visible. And the other piece would be spend every day 3 times when you're looking in the mirror and just slow things down and ask yourself, who are you? Just yourself. Who are you? And look into your own eyes and have a sense, like build a relationship with that part of your being. Like, who are you? And yeah, make that a practice whenever you're in the toilet, whenever you're just going in any of those spaces where there's a mirror. It's just take that moment of making eye contact. And similar what Shailesh just says is like, all the wisdom lives inside of me. Like, yes, I can get inspiration from the outside, but everything that I'm bringing into this world is coming out of inside of me. So it's up to me to make the space for that to come forward. And only I can do that by being bold and by taking a stand for what matters to me, and to not care too much about the outside, like making the point of origin inside instead of being led by my circumstances from the outside. That would be
Correct.
my recommendation for a shift.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely love that. And yourself, Annemie, same question. What is your spiritual message you'd like to pass on to everybody?
Well, it's basically lead by example, and don't be too hard on yourself while you are doing that, because life is a journey and we are here to learn lessons, like things will happen to you, and instead of seeing them as problems, seeing them as opportunities that come to you, and then you can learn your lesson, and then maybe you can help other people understand similar things that happen to them. And secondly, I would say awareness, because where are you now, and where do you want to be, and how do you want to be? And awareness about everything, basically. Awareness about, nature around you. Are you kind to the animals? Are you kind to the environment? And learning from everything that you observe. Learn as much as you can, and then be a kind person, as Shailesh says, because I'm a big advocate of emotional intelligence. And as you know, kindness is definitely the highest form of emotional intelligence. And before you judge other people, I mean, we will all judge because it's a human trait, right? So just observe yourself when thoughts come of judgment, and why are you judging? And then think, like, what if I would put my feet in that person's shoes? How would I respond, or what would I do? And then you will understand it from a very, very different perspective. So that's my message to everyone who's listening.
Oh, fantastic. Thank
I
you.
would,
And look,
I would like to
Shailesh?
add. I would like to add on Annemie's and Sybille's a fantastic. I learned myself a lot and awakened myself, even in spite of that. But one thing I would like to pass on the message after hearing everyone. Also add to what I said is self-realization, but also eliminate identities, because that's one of the things and one of the hurdles when you look inside yourself in the mirror. You try to identify yourself as something or the other, and I think that's a big hurdle and restrictions when you try to identify yourself or when you try to identify others. So my message is very simple. Once again, is don't try. There is no good, bad, right, wrong, but all of these things comes because of identities. Once you start understanding yourself and you know that, okay, that's nothing going to make much difference whether I get $1 more or $1 less or nothing I get. What matters, this is a spiritual journey everyone has got. Everyone has got to live their journey irrespective of whatever they have or whatever they don't have. And that's one of the powerful identity that everybody should give it, eliminate from them, that there is no such thing as identity, that I am this and I am that and I'm going to be that and I'm going to be that. Rather than that, have a simple journey, because the simple journey is very much as kindness, where you act in such a way that you support and you uplift and you upgrade yourself and everyone. And that's what matters in the journey rather than anything else. So identity is restrictive with this kind of journey. So to me, my message is very simple. Have a spiritual journey means nothing but have a very simple journey that is not complicated because the complications are done by yourself through your emotions. So don't
Correct.
complicate your life with your emotions. Just make it, uncover yourself by self-realizing that, and have a spiritual journey. So I loved this panel discussions that today was absolutely fantastic and amazing, that I have learned a lot. So I would love to pass on this and spread this positiveness from all of us to everyone that who are listening and who wants to probably listen in the future as well. So yeah, we will definitely, I'm happy to be a part of this. And Jamiee, thank you very much for this, bringing up this coming together and making it happen. So yeah.
Fabulous. Shailesh, you took the words literally out of my mouth. Thank you so much. So look, I just want to end it by saying thank you so much to the panel, Shailesh and me and Sybille. All the information and the discussions and the conversations and the messages that we've spoken about today has been absolutely imperative. And I really look forward to working with each and every one of you. Stay tuned for our next episode that's coming up very shortly, and enjoy the rest of your day. And the last question I'm going to leave with you is, what does spirituality mean to you? Take care.